All right, Shalom. First off, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, and Karkudas. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone and the sincere Shalom to the Akim out here that's doing game, pushing his work in truth and in sincerity. I want to go on this video, okay? We try to title it, In the End, They Will End Up Apologizing, okay? And I asked ChatGPT, what does the Bible say about anybody who isn't of the elect will end up apologizing? Okay, and it says that is a very good question, and it ties into the Bible's teaching about the elect, the wicked, and the acknowledgement of God, which his name is Yahweh Shah, chosen in the end times. It says while the Bible doesn't literally say everyone not of the elect will apologize, it does show that in the end, all people, including the wicked and those who oppose the elect, will be humbled, acknowledge their sins, and confess that the Most High was with his chosen people. Okay? And, you got a chosen inside of the chosen. Okay? Which is, all Israel, okay, is, considered the elect, but you have an elect inside of the elect, a chosen inside of the chosen, okay? 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed here in Babylon the Great, which is known as America, okay, according to the Holy Bible, okay? Now, those who you know, we tell according to the Bible, you know, the truth to, okay? Lord willing, we have the elect, okay? We have to, stress that point, because we don't know whether or not, we are those who are, destined to be delivered from this, you know, destruction that's about to come from the Heavenly Father, okay? But I'm gonna start off with the book of Isaiah 45 and 23, where the scriptures, with ChatGPT, right? It says, "I have sworn by myself, the word has gone out of my mouth in righteousness," right? And we are the ones, of Great Millstone, who um don't have any deceit when it comes down to what's inside of the scriptures. We're not out here to deceive anybody. We're not out here to you know, clout chase, or we just here to give you the pure truth, okay? And what we say is unadulterated, is not, any gimmicks with it, you know. It's either you're gonna get it or you're not gonna get it. We are the doctrine, the what we say, you know, we only for the elect, you know. So when we speak these things, if it doesn't resonate with you, that's cool. You know, if it doesn't resonate with you, good, because the scripture says that birds, of a sort, resort to that kind. Okay. Um. So if it doesn't, make sense to you what we say, putting down certain things, repenting, having the fear of the Lord, okay, to do what we got to do, you know, or if it don't make sense, of what we doing or what we say, then that's cool. We're not out here to um sway somebody who isn't of the elect, okay. We are just simply, teaching the word, you know, um, in the purest sense. Okay. So it says and shall not return, right? It says that unto me every knee shall bow and every tongue shall swear. Okay. And that's, Yahweh, okay, the most high, speaking about this, right? Um it says Every person, righteous or wicked, will bow before the Most High and confess his authority. This includes those who rejected his elect. Okay? So in the end, everybody, if you're not, you're gonna realize that the Lord is real. The one who we speak of, his name is Yahweh, his name is Yahweh Shah, these are facts, okay? People might want to think that what we speak is opinions, and, we don't have no validity to the things that we say, you know, but when you realize that, the Lord is the one who put you to death, you know, you right there and it's like that. Oh my, like those guys was actually telling the truth, you know. Then it's going to hit a little different, and all that pride that you had is like, what did it get you? What did it get you at? You know, because the Lord is going to break down anybody who's not of His elect. He's going to break down all that pride, all that wickedness, and He's going to get the intended result. Okay, so you best believe that. This is our Wisdom of Solomon 5:1-3. It says, Then saw the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. And these people, they don't, consider or have in the mind, things that we do when it comes down to, going out there, putting our life on the line, speaking His truth, all the things that comes along with it, studying, you know, um, being a brother, changing ourselves, changing our life. It takes a lot, to actually be in this faith, and be committed, you know, for the Lord, having discipline and all that stuff. It takes a whole lot. Okay, but they not taking in consideration, of the labor and the things that we went through, which is all coming from the Lord. But in order for us to grow, you know, so they it doesn't make sense to them. So a lot of people, they just have a disdain for what we speak. It says, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and so be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. It's talking about the elect. It says, for so far beyond all that they looked for, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, so say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. It says, the wicked will regret how they treated the righteous. Their repenting and groaning shows a form of apology or recognition that they were wrong. But it's too late to change their fate. Okay? And to be honest, your fate was already sealed way before, the world was even, started, you know? And it's like, well, if you have the humility to, um, you know, you don't want that to go down, which it's nothing that we can change, but it's still a thing of like, we want to fight, we want to try to do right by the Lord, you know. Some people don't have that in their mindset whatsoever, but some people do come into this thing, and you want to last until the very, very end of this thing, and not just fail, at the very end of this thing. You want to have that hope that you are of the elect, and that, make your calling and election sure. Okay. Philippians 2:10, it says through 11. It says that at the name of Yahweh Shah, right, which is his real name, every knee shall bow, and it says, of things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth, and that every tongue shall confess that Yahweh Shah is the Lord, and the glory of Yahweh the Most High. It says every being, and it says even unbelievers will confess Yahweh Shah's lordship. This confession isn't necessarily for salvation, but an acknowledgement of truth. Because, Yahweh Shah is the rightful heir, to the whole world. This is his world. Okay? Everything was created for him. Okay? And everything was created for Yahweh. Even the wicked for the day of judgment. Okay? We don't expect an apology from Esau, but from our own people, that's where forgiveness actually gonna come in. And it's gonna be a beautiful thing, man. Where it ain't gonna be no uh murderers and you know those type of things amongst Israel. You know, it's gonna be if a person messed up in the past life or this life or whatever the case may be, you know, you'll be able to forgive them, and there'll be tons of room for it. Tons of room to have that conversation. Especially when these people who are wicked and full of pride realize that Yahweh, Yahweh Shah is real, okay, and he's serious and he's the real deal, okay. Revelation 3:9, it says, "Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie." It says, "Behold, I will make them to come and worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved you." Those who falsely claim to be Yahweh Shem Shah's people will be forced to acknowledge the true elect. This is a powerful image of reversal. The humble exalted, and the proud brought low. Okay? So you want to be of the people who are exalted so that the Lord can put you up on high. And those people who are, proud, okay, don't want to come into this knowledge, they're going to be brought very, very low. Okay, and then the book of Daniel 12:1, right? It says, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which stands for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation." It says, "Even to the same time, and at that time thy people shall be delivered." Right? The scriptures also say that, then shall it be known who my chosen are. Okay? It says, everyone that shall be found written in the book of life. Okay? It says, "And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt." Okay? And that's, only for a moment. Okay? Now they're gonna still be in that mind, they still gonna be in a repentant, apologetic mind state. Okay? But for the most part, those who die on this side, they'll come back in their right mind, okay, and knowing that, who the elect is, knowing, that this man has been, possibly trying to tell me the truth, and I just don't want to listen to it. I've counted this man as madness, So now when, the Lord starts showing that he's actually with that man, okay, and you gotta live with that, because the Lord gonna reveal himself in all the, the last days, okay? Um, and he reveals himself onto certain individuals, okay? But everybody can't receive that, okay? Everybody can't receive that. So when he returns, you know, those who are the believers, the people who didn't want to believe, they're going to regret it. You know, you had the time, you heard it before. Now you got to deal with whatever comes your way. So with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. Want to say shalom until next time.